Good morning, I'm Frank Powers, and this is Lifestyle Tucson, the program where I speak to our neighbors, the people behind the scenes of our amazing organizations, small businesses, and nonprofits. Our friends are informing you how they serve our community, and they are here to give you updates on future projects. Let's make some new friends today. Today on Lifestyle Tucson, we're talking PB, and I don't mean peanut butter. Plumblum. That's right, we're talking lead, symbol PB, atomic number 82, atomic weight 207.2. I love to expose people to heavy metal on the radio, but you should never be exposed to lead, especially if you're a kid. Lead exposure can cause high blood pressure and brain, kidney, and reproductive health issues in adults. Symptoms of lead poisoning include headaches, stomach cramps, constipation, muscle joint pain, trouble sleeping, fatigue, irritability, and loss of sex drive. Most adults with lead poisoning don't look or even feel sick. So let's get the lead out once and for all, because today I'm fortunate enough to speak with Scott Wilson, Housing Rehab Supervisor for the City of Tucson. How you doing, Scott?
I'm pretty good, thanks. How's yourself?
Doing all right. I think. I wouldn't be able to tell. We'll have to find out today, because I'm also joined by Raul Munoz, Residential Rehab Project Coordinator for the City of Tucson, RRPC for short. Welcome to Lifestyle Tucson, Raul.
Thank you, Frank. Happy to be here, and thank you for the invite.
Heck yeah. So, as I was saying before we got on air, like here I find out, what are we talking about? Oh, we're going to talk about lead? Okay, I guess. Is that a problem still? Let me start doing some research. Oh my God. And I was even on the phone with a friend, and he was like, this is a big deal, buddy. You don't even know. And he's the one that starts making these lead jokes and told me what Plumblum is and knows the atomic number, and because he's a big nerd. The periodic table's great. But it really did then, I'm like, you're right, let me begin my research, and holy geez, this is a huge problem that you're here to solve, and you're going to help a lot of people solve it for free, which is amazing. So why don't you give us a little bit of a 101 about what the Lead Hazard Reduction Program is all about, sir? Scott.
Hi again. So the Lead Hazard Reduction Program is a program where we will test people's homes for lead-based paint. And if we find lead-based paint in those homes, then we'll do a remediation project to remove the lead-based paint from their homes.
Okay. What's remediation mean?
Essentially, we do abatement, so we try to remove all the lead-based paint from their home.
Okay.
And a lot of times that means we're replacing building components, windows and doors, and we put in low E double pane glass, and we replace it all with good quality building components.
Heck yeah, saving lives. And this happens a lot in houses built before like 78, 76. What year was it?
It was 1978. They outlawed the sale of lead-based paint for residential use.
Yep. Now, a lot of people might not realize how prevalent lead used to be. And the reason that it's such a problem is because lead doesn't go away. It stays there. So people growing up on busy highways, busy roads back in the day before they created unleaded gas had lead all throughout their entire neighborhoods and communities, and it was affecting them. And that's what people realized, which is why they also had to make unleaded gas. I think a lot of people read unleaded gas and don't realize that's the problem they were solving, is getting the lead out, which is a term we all kind of know, right? So interesting stuff about that, and the fact that we're trying to really help save a lot of lives. Now, saving lives from the mistakes made by that paint back in the day, by some of these conditions. So tell us about some of the programs that you've got going on, because there's a few of them. One being the Tucson Home Repair Program, and the other, the Housing Access Program. So let's start talking about the Tucson Home Repair Program.
So the Tucson Home Repair Program is a program where we basically go into a person's home and we take a look at the roof, the plumbing, the mechanical systems, the structure, and we basically replace building components that are old and worn out, and we try to improve the quality of people's lives. And the Housing Access Program is a program where we will go into people's homes. We subcontract that out to a direct center for independence. They're an agency that we work with, and they go in and do ADA modifications to people's homes when they have disabilities to help them get around the house better and have a more functional house.
Well, that's huge. Again, this is a big part of what some people don't realize exists here in town, offered by the city, you know, sponsored by grants and funding and all this sort of stuff. And it's about getting the word out. And that's what we're trying to do here on Lifestyle Tucson, so we can help the lives of some of these elderly folks, some people in older homes, and especially people in these different communities that just have been doomed to this since getting a home or because of their, you know, income level. And that's not what you want. You don't want health to be based on income. So What can you tell me, Raul, about some of your points of view on some of these programs and your experience dealing with it all?
Well, the programs are very helpful for many families that are in need that become eligible for these qualifying programs. And what we found is that there is definitely a need. There's so many homes out there and families that can benefit from a program like this, and we're happy to be able to provide that service to many of our communities here in Tucson. So it's something that also helps lift up those neighborhoods. You have local neighbors that see their neighbors kind of looks like there's a revamp of some sort. They see a new roof on there, they see new windows, and of course there's a process with that, and it kind of gets people excited. Knows that it's lifting up the neighborhood, and people can take pride in even though it's an older home, it's being more energy efficient, it's safer, it's healthier, and also too just really promoting looking at generational wealth and health as well. So that's something that is a great benefit to our community.
I mean, I think that the idea right there, we talk about generational wealth, but generational health, that's something to keep very much in mind, and that's what you're taking care of. So you talk about qualifying, and I was getting some information from you where your section of the city does numerous housing rehab projects. You've always got one going. So tell us about how some of our folks here in town qualify to get some help rehabbing their homes.
I'll step in on this one. So, for our lead hazard control program, the property must be built prior to 1978. The residents must have a child under the age of 6 that lives there or regularly visits the property. The excess value shall not exceed values established for the home program, which is, I believe it's $250,000. Mortgage payments, tax payments must be current, and the property must be free of liens. And when applicable, we ask that they have flood insurance if they're in a floodplain.
Okay, fair and smart. That flood insurance can actually save you. You never know with these monsoons. They can wipe out a business. So I remember 4th Avenue one year. Oof, some of those monsoons, they were not prepared. And they've done some infrastructure changes there, too, to make sure that the flooding doesn't get the best of us sometimes. A wash can get out of hand real quick in Tucson. So, again, insurance can go a long way here. I've always been a bit ahead of insurance myself. So,
I'd like to add also, again, with those programs that there is income eligibility. The best way to find that out would be to go to our website. It depends on the family size, but everybody has to participate in all of our programs. They have to be at 80% area median income or lower.
Okay. So you can go find out what you qualify for and everything over at TucsonAZ.gov. Look under departments. Then there's the housing community development, homeowner repair programs, and also you can go check out the housing assistance area as well as apply for a home repair program. All that on their website over at TucsonAZ.gov. Just click through. There's some subheadings. You'll find it. It seems pretty easy to navigate. I always feel like if I can do it, anybody can do it. So in the importance also where I brought up kids there real quick in the intro, this affects kids a lot faster because it affects the development. And that's a big part. And I was talking to somebody and they go, that's because sometimes you think about when governments say, oh, you're allowed to legally have this many parts per million of a substance, right? Parts per million actually affects kids a lot more because they're tinier. And you got to realize that a poisonous substance to an adult can really get to a kid a lot faster. So the thing that I realized when doing some of this research is that you find out the lead paint's a problem is apparently because it's sweet or delicious, right? Does it have like a sweetness to it? And that's why little babies, kids, they might actually find some of this chipping off their walls and they eat it. And that is devastating. It's just eating poison. So give me some tips for some of our parents out there about what they can do themselves to just try to alleviate some of the problems they might be experiencing as they're maybe going to go apply for this program.
Well, one of the ways to keep children safe from lead poisoning, number one, probably dust. Lead dust is the worst culprit because children can put their hands in that. They can get their toys in it. And then, children under the age of 6 do a lot of hand-to-mouth stuff, so they can end up putting that dust into their system by ingestion. So friction areas, windows and doors, that's why we replace those. If you do have a pre-78 house, keep children's toy areas away from windows and doors, and make sure that they're not putting toys in their mouth, basically, especially if they're located in those areas.
Raul, what do you think? Any tips you can give our parents out there?
Also, too, there's a likelihood that there could be lead in soil right outside the home as well. And so one of the items that we do suggest to families are to ensure that the shoes are removed before bringing in home, as well as pets. There's pets are in and out of the home as well. So just try to keep it as dust-free as possible. And that's, as Scott had mentioned, that is one of the most dangerous parts of it, is that the ingestion of that dust is going to be most harmful for the little ones. And we don't realize that, we're in and out of the home, and our pets are in and out. So being able to ensure that not a bad idea. Maybe leave the shoes at the doorway there, and then we can, vacuum those up and whatnot. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
Good hygiene, always a big deal. Keep those shoes outside because you're walking all over the ground. Those pets, same thing. That is a good idea. And let me tell you, in all my research doing this for a few hours yesterday and a little bit before and then talking to you, lead dust didn't even come up. So that's why talking to you guys is really important, talking to these experts, because you know about some of these things that even Google doesn't get to after hours of researching how many ways lead can get into your life. And even I was confused. I thought paint chips meant like paint chips, not chipping paint. I thought it was kids getting into something under a cabinet or something. Like, no, it's literally if the walls are peeling. And I remember the school I went to, I'm like, oh, like that, right? Where you go to some of these older buildings, some of these government buildings, and they might be the culprits too. Do you guys go into facilities like that, these bigger government buildings, things like that, and try to rejuvenate those as well? Because we gotta. I imagine, right?
We don't do that in our department. I'm not sure if schools really do that a lot, but they should be doing it if they're not doing it.
How does a school, or let's even go back to a family with pets, family in their home, how do you test for lead?
So we use environmental testing companies. They use a piece of equipment called an XRF machine, or X-ray fluorescent. It uses a radioactive chip of cadmium, but basically it kind of looks like a police radar gun, and they put that against the wall or any building component that they want to test, and that shoots back. So they pull the trigger, and it shoots back the amount of lead that's in that substrate right there.
Wow. And can people get lead testing done? How much is that done for free?
Yes.
Okay.
And under our program, that's the first step.
Okay.
We test the house for lead-based paint.
Okay.
That's the first step.
I listed a lot of symptoms early on. I don't want people going to WebMD right now because you probably got half of them. It's true. But it is hard to discover if you yourself might be suffering from being exposed to lead. How does an adult figure it out if there aren't those symptoms that make it so clear that it is that? It could be, I just get headaches, or, I am fatigued. Maybe I'm just depressed. How do they actually discover and get checked out for, like, oh, no, it is lead exposure?
Well, for an adult, they can ask their doctor to get a lead blood level test. But also in our programs, we only offer testing. We offer free testing for children under the age of 6.
Okay.
And the reason for that, as you touched on earlier, is, children their brain and their nervous system are still developing, and they're almost fully developed by the age of 6. That's why we have a cutoff at that age for children in the house. But for an adult, you could just have to ask your medical provider to get a lead test.
Okay. It's a good idea. You hear that advice. Are you really by 6? I even feel like my fontanelle has been done even healing. Oh, my goodness. But, I got a lot of growing up to do. So let me ask you now what some of your goals are for the program. How many houses have you guys been able to go in and help out? How many families do you think you've been able to help out in the last year?
We try to do about 100 cases a year under the lead program. So the lead grant is a competitive grant, and we have to apply to Housing and Urban Development. This grant was a 3.5-year grant. We got $4 million. $2.5 million of that was for construction costs or lead abatement costs. So this grant will be ending on June 30th, but we will be applying for another grant before then. So I've been with the city for 16 years, and we've had the lead grant the whole time that I've been here, minus about a couple of months when we had applied for our grant and it didn't get funded, and the other grant ended first. But we've always had this program, and we're going to continue to be applying for this grant every time it comes out.
Okay, great. Because again, this is really important and it is free. So if you've just joined us, you're listening to Lifestyle Tucson. I'm here talking with Scott Wilson, Housing Rehab Supervisor for the City of Tucson, as well as Raul Munoz, Residential Rehab Project Coordinator for the City of Tucson. We're talking about getting the lead out of your homes and what it is to be safe from lead, keeping your kids safe, keeping your family safe, and all of the programs available to you and your family. You just got to go to the website, all right, over here at tucsonaz.gov. Go find out if you or your family qualifies for getting your house checked out and inspected for lead. Again, what are some of the qualifications that it takes for people to qualify for these programs? Let's just remind people again.
So your house has to be pre-1978. It has to be inside City of Tucson limits. For the lead program, you have to have a child under the age of 6 years old living or regularly visiting the house. And you have to be under 80% area median income.
All right. So go check out the website. Go check out all of those and see if you qualify, because we are trying to save some lives here. And that's what Lifestyle Tucson's all about, getting to know all the people in our community that really help out some of the things that we don't all know about, because it's hard to keep track of everything these days. But when it comes to health, I like what we talked about. We're talking generational wealth, but I like generational health. So that's a big, important thing. So I always ask folks here on Lifestyle Tucson, and it's going to be a little different for you guys, but I ask if you're looking for volunteers. Now, that's usually people joining the workforce and helping people out. That's not what's going to happen with you guys. You're looking for volunteers for the Tucson program. So if you are one of those people that meet all these parameters, go again, check everything out. All right, that's what's up. Now, I want to know a secret about your program. I ask this of a lot of my groups that come on here. If you can tell me a secret about the program, what's a secret that people need to know about?
I would say the program itself is almost a secret. We have a very hard time getting people into the door for this program. And, you know, we have funding to utilize in all the communities throughout Tucson. And to be quite frank, we're having a hard time spending it because we don't have enough applicants.
You see that?
So if you think you might be qualified, please apply.
Yeah, don't be afraid. And I'll be honest with you, this happens with us on the radio. We have a lot of what we call prize pigs. Those are the people that call to win the prizes. A lot of it you should, because you just don't think you'll win. So they don't bother. And some people are really taking advantage of some of these things. There are a lot of programs that are free to certain groups that qualify, but they don't even apply. I think some of it might be, do you think it's just the idea of, I don't want to specifically say don't trust the government, but is there no such thing as a free lunch? Do people just kind of feel like there's got to be something else to it? There's got to be that, because they're not meeting you face to face. I'm talking to a couple of nice guys here that come in, know about this, worked for the city for 16 years. Raul, how long have you worked for the city?
I've been with the city since August of this year. I just started.
Oh, well, welcome aboard, and thank you for helping out. What did you do before this?
Worked with Pima County.
There you go.
Government.
So, all right, there you go.
Years.
Same thing, just scaling, making it a little more focused. And that's important, where I get to talk to a lot of people like you, and you're working for our community. I'm a guy that really loves the crossing guard. I'm a guy that really loves the way that we kind of used to look at the world, where the mailman's a part of your family in a way, and you can kind of trust your neighbors a bit more. And we've lost a bit of that. The idea of getting a cup of sugar from your neighbor, people are worried it's anthrax now because of how crazy things have gotten, and some of stranger danger getting out of control. But we're a community, and Tucson's a great community. I always call it the baby bear's porridge. It's just right. You just got to meet these people and put some faces to the places, and that's what we're doing here. So you can hear, I'm begging. The call to action that we always have on Lifestyle Tucson is volunteer. The call to action here is volunteer to get your family saved and get your house inspected and rehabilitated. That's huge. There's thousands of dollars available for you from a grant that they did all the work to get, and they can't even give it away. That's because enough of you are not doing the work that you need to do to get the other end of this deal. How many of these people that apply for this program do you think fall short of just finishing the application process? Is it a long application process because sometimes things make you jump through hoops, or is it easier than people think?
It's very easy. It takes less than 5 minutes online. Matter of fact, if I'm out in the field and I talk to somebody about the program, I'll usually just whip out my cell phone and I help them apply right there.
Really?
In under 5 minutes.
Wow.
I wanted to add something that we hadn't brought up earlier. Everyone who participates in the lead hazard control program also has the option to participate in another program called the Healthy Homes program.
Okay, tell me about it.
Now, that program, we spend up to about $10,000 on that, but we'll go and they had, like I said, they do have to participate in the lead program because this is a piggyback program that comes with the lead hazard reduction program. So with that, we'll go in and we'll do kind of an environmental but a healthy homes assessment on the house. And we run through a list of different things that make a house unsafe or unhealthy. And then we write a scope of work based on that. What we end up usually doing is we'll end up replacing a roof, or sometimes we can replace windows. Sometimes we can replace air conditioners, coolers, electrical panels, you name it. We can do a lot of different things under that program as well. So it's not just the lead abatement that's going to take place. If you do participate in this program, there will be other rehab available to you at that time.
Hey, let me tell you again, tell a friend, because again, that's how things work. I do a lot of marketing research, and hearing about it this way is one way that you're going to feel a way about something. But if you feel the right way about it, tell a friend. That person's going to believe you 10 times more than you believe this, because that's how all this stuff works. It even works with cheeseburgers that way. You can get advertised all day long, but it's until your friend tells you, oh, have you tried it? That's how you got to get some information out here, especially for good programs, good things like this. You might be doing something like saving a neighbor's life by telling a neighbor about, hey, did you hear what I heard on the radio the other day? Well, you should. And you can go direct them to Apple Podcasts or Spotify to go listen to any episode of Lifestyle Tucson, but especially this one, especially if it's going to save a family in your community that has a child that's under 6 years old. All right. That's what you want to think about, how much a little information can really help out a lot of people. And that's what this is all about. As we get close to the end here already, right? And I said we're going to get the let out for this one, and it went quick. Just give me some of your final thoughts or any last statements that you just really think are so important and that you really want to express so that people can hear it. What are your final thoughts about what you're doing and what your mission is to save some lives by informing people about lead?
Well, frankly, I'm blessed to have a job where I'm able to help people for a living, and I and all of the staff in housing and community development, we're passionate about helping people. So please don't be afraid to apply. There are rumors out there, and some people, they're trying to take our home, or some people are scared to let people in their homes after COVID, I believe. But this is all for a good cause, and if you do have an older home and you have younger children in that home, it's very beneficial to get your house checked out.
Just to add to Scott, as well as if you have visiting children that are coming to the home, there's many of families that are babysitting and or visiting grandkids or just children in general. So again, that's another kind of point to make as well. And again, it's a very fulfilling opportunity to go out into the community and meet some of the families, and it feels like family. This is something that is above just a job, or it's actually being able to go out and strengthen our community. So I'm just really fortunate to have this opportunity to work with this group.
Heck yeah, it's a great group, and I'm willing to bet that you guys get a lot of Christmas cards from a lot of happy families, because I remember when I was growing up, we did some stuff to my home, and we all became friends with that entire crew and knew them forever because they expanded our home. They were in our home for the whole summer. They jumped in the pool off the roof. We never forgot it as kids growing up. So when you really can change an entire family's lives, you do kind of become a part of that family. And you never know, because you're really saving lives. And those kids are going to grow up. And that's the point. And those grandkids as well, kids visiting, right? Kids that you're babysitting. It's really important to take care of your neighbors, of the community. That's what it's all about. A lot of unity in the Tucson community. And you heard it here, because today we made friends with Scott Wilson, Housing Rehab Supervisor for the City of Tucson, as well as Raul Munoz, Residential Rehab Project Coordinator for the City of Tucson, RRPC for short. Thanks for joining me today, fellas.
Thanks so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Frank.
Heck yeah. This was Lifestyle Tucson. Bing bong bing, time for a recap. I really enjoy talking to the City of Tucson about these sorts of things. Learning about government programs the way Matthew Lesko used to teach us. Do you remember him? He's the guy that wears the question mark suits, talking about government programs that exist that you just need to find out about. So hopefully I'm helping you too. And I love that man's fashion sense. There is no question to this. All you got to do is go follow the City of Tucson. Go follow them over on Instagram at City of Tucson. You can go find out a lot of information over at tucsonaz.gov. You heard them, just Google some of these things because, again, there's just some subheadings. You want to look into the departments, the housing and community development area, and then homeowner repair programs. So you can look that up. You can also type low-income home repair assistance and City of Tucson. So Google those, Bing them, Ask Jeeves, and you'll get your answers and find some of these things that maybe help you or someone you know, someone in your neighborhood, someone in your family or your community. Reach out and let these people know what's going on, because otherwise a bunch of false information gets spread around. Like this, did you know this fact about lead? No matter how much you think about it, there's no lead in pencils. It's true. That lead is actually a mixture of graphite and clay. The more the graphite, the softer and darker the point. So I've made my point. There's no lead in pencils, no. And no matter how magical you are, no alchemy will turn lead into gold. Their atomic numbers might be close. That periodic table might be set, but sorry, that's not going to be what happens when you cook that lead. You're just going to, burn yourself. So, you can't get rich quick here, but at least knowledge is power. And I'm power, so let's stop the wordplay and finish out the day. Because I want to thank our new friends at the City of Tucson's Lead Hazard Reduction Program. You've been listening to Lifestyle Tucson. If you're a nonprofit that would like to be on the show, email lifestyletucson@gmail.com. For more information about this program or to listen to something you may have missed, go to the Sunday Mornings page on klpx.com, kfma.com, mixfm.com, or espntucson.com. You can also subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and Audible, or wherever fine podcasts are unleaded. Follow on Facebook, especially YouTube and Instagram at Lifestyle Tucson, because I'm your BFF, Frank Powers. Toot Tucson. I love you the most.